Hey everyone! Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Jack, and we're all about valuable coins that might just be sitting in your spare change jar, waiting to make you rich. Before we get started, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on all these awesome coin tips and strategies. You never know, your next coin might just be the one that changes your life, so you're probably asking yourself, what makes a 1994 penny so special? Well, let me tell you. It all starts with a little mistake. A mistake that, with a bit of luck, could have a huge payday attached to it. Back in 1994, the US Mint produced a massive number of pennies. We're talking about billions of them. But guess what? Some of those pennies, specifically those with no mint mark, are worth a lot more than their face value. We're talking about up to $1.1 million, and here's why. You see, most of the time, pennies are stamped with a mint mark to indicate where they were made. The D stands for Denver, the S for San Francisco, and the P for Philadelphia. But in 1994, some of the pennies were made in Philadelphia without the mint mark at all. This tiny detail is what sets these particular pennies apart, and now, collectors are hunting for them now. You might be wondering, how in the world does a mistake like this turn into $1 million treasure? Well, here's the thing, collectors and numismatists, that's a fancy word for coin experts, go wild over any coin that's rare and has an interesting story. A 1994 penny with no mint mark is rare. In fact, it's so rare that it's practically like finding a needle in a haystack. It's like finding a golden ticket in a chocolate bar. The fact that it slipped through the cracks makes it a highly sought-after coin, and collectors will pay a pretty penny, pun intended, to own one. Not speaking of finding rare coins, let me tell you about the time I found something in my pocket that blew my mind. It wasn't a 1994 penny, but it was a 1964 Kennedy half-dollar. I had no idea it was worth more than just the 50 cents it said on it. I remember pulling it out one day, thinking it was just another coin, and the next thing I knew, I was getting offers from coin collectors. I felt like I had won the lottery. Now, every time I hear about these rare coins, I get a little jealous of those lucky enough to find a 1994 no mint mark penny. But hey, you never know what's in your change jar, right? So, how do you know if you've got one of these $1 million pennies? First off, check for the date. It has to be from 1994. Then, look closely at the back of the coin, there should be no mint mark. If it's a regular 1994 penny with a D or S, it's just a normal penny, no big deal. But if there's nothing there, well, congratulations. You could be holding onto something incredible. As of now, a 1994 no mint mark penny can sell for anywhere between a few $1,000s to $1.1 million, depending on the coin's condition. If you've got one in perfect, uncirculated condition, that's the holy grail. But even in slightly worn condition, these pennies still hold significant value, especially if you find one in the right market. Now, don't get too excited and start rummaging through every penny in your wallet. It's not like you'll find one every day. But, if you do, be sure to get it appraised, because you could be sitting on a goldmine. So, the next time you're looking through your spare change, remember this, that little penny might just be more than it seems. A 1994 no mint mark penny could be worth up to $1.1 million, and you might be the lucky one who stumbles upon it. It's all about paying attention to the details and knowing what makes a coin rare. Who knows? You might have a treasure hiding in your pocket right now. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe for more tips on coins that could be worth a lot of money. I'm here to help you find coins with real value, so make sure you're part of the coin hunting crew. And if you've ever found a rare coin, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. Catch you in the next video, where we'll dig into even more coins worth big bucks. Alright, folks, buckle up because today we're talking about a penny that could be worth more than your car. No, seriously. Have you ever thought that a single penny could be worth a house? Well, get ready for the shocking truth about the 2020 D mint mark Lincoln penny. You won't believe the value of this little copper coin. It's currently worth a whopping $1.2 million. Yes, you heard that right. Grab your magnifying glass because we're diving deep into what makes this penny so special and how it could make you richer than you ever thought possible. Now, let's get down to business. The 2020 D mint mark Lincoln penny, it's not just any penny you'd find in your loose change jar. Most people are probably throwing these pennies away or tossing them into a wishing fountain somewhere, right? But little do they know, this seemingly average penny is one of the most sought after coins in the market today. And it's worth $1.2 million. Yeah, I can hear your jaw hitting the floor through the screen. Alright, before you start digging through every change jar you've got at home, let me explain why this coin is so valuable. First off, this penny has to meet specific criteria. It's not just about having a 2020D stamped on it and calling it a day. No. There's some serious history behind this little guy. So, let's break this down. You know how some coins are struck with rare errors? Well, the 2020D Lincoln penny wasn't supposed to be this valuable, it was just another penny made in Denver, right? But there's one tiny little thing that sets it apart: it's part of a rare batch. You see, the 2020D penny was minted during a time of great uncertainty, and that's where its rarity comes from. You're probably wondering, what exactly makes this penny worth $1.2 million? Let me tell you. The reason behind its sky-high price is a combination of factors: a mistake in the minting process, an incredibly low mintage number, and the perfect condition these pennies were found in. It's all about that rarity factor. Minting errors make these coins way more valuable than you'd think. I remember a while back, I was looking through some of my old coins hoping to find something valuable, And I found this old penny from 1974. I got all excited, thinking I might have struck gold, but nope, it was just a regular penny. That day, I learned that if you're going to search for valuable coins, you gotta know what you're looking for, just like this 2020D penny. I didn't hit the jackpot, but you could. So what should you look for if you think you might have a 2020D Lincoln penny worth $1.2 million? Well, first, you've got to make sure it's in mint condition, no scratches, no discoloration. Second, check for any unique minting errors. Some of these pennies might have been struck off-center, giving them a different appearance and higher value. Lastly, check the coin's provenance, where it came from, and who owned it before it landed in your hands. That's going to help determine its true worth. Now, let's talk about how to find these rare pennies. You don't need to hit the streets with a metal detector, unless that's your thing. Go for it, but what you can do is start going through your change. Yes, really. Check those pockets, dig through that jar of coins, and maybe you'll find a 2020D penny that'll make you richer than a lot of people who have been collecting for years. I know what you're thinking: is it really that easy? Well, it can be if you know what to look for. A quick tip: always look for the mint mark. A D mint mark means it was made in Denver, and it's important to check what's special about that mint's production. But remember, this isn't just about checking the mint mark. Pay attention to the condition. If it's pristine, well, that's where the magic happens. That little coin could be worth a ton of money. And hey, if you find a rare 2020D penny, don't just stick it in your drawer. Get it appraised, see what the market says, and maybe even get it graded by a professional. Believe me, you won't want to miss out on a fortune because you didn't take the extra step. So, what have we learned today? The 2020D Mint Mark Lincoln penny is not just another penny, it's a little treasure chest with a massive value. $1.2 million for a single penny? Yeah, that's no joke. If you've got one of these in your pocket, you might be looking at the start of your very own coin fortune. And hey, if you found this video helpful, make sure you smash that subscribe button. You don't want to miss out on more tips like these. After all, you never know when you might find the next $1 million penny lying around in your change jar. Alright, I know what you're thinking. A 1967 penny? Seriously? That's just one of those old, forgotten coins sitting at the bottom of your junk drawer, right? Well, buckle up, because I'm about to tell you something that will make you think twice about those old pennies you've been ignoring. Imagine finding a coin worth $1.3 million just sitting there, in your change, or hidden in a box somewhere at home. Sounds too good to be true, right? But that's exactly what happened with the 1967 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Oh yeah, we're talking big bucks, baby. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll be digging through your coin jar like it's the gold rush, the 1967 Lincoln penny. Why would this old coin be worth a small fortune? After all, it's not like it's from the 1800s or something crazy. It's from the 60s, and that's not even considered vintage by some standards. But this particular penny is a rare gem, and if you happen to have one, you could be sitting on a jackpot worth over $1.3 million. Let that sink in for a second, and now, let's get into the nitty-gritty of why this coin is so special. First, we need to talk about the minting process of the time. In 1967, the US Mint was in the middle of a lot of coin production, making a ton of pennies that year. However, here's the kicker: most of the pennies were produced with a mint mark, either an S4 San Francisco or a D4 Denver. But there's a rare variation, a penny with no mint mark. That's what makes it super special. Why would a penny from 1967 be missing a mint mark? Here's where the story gets interesting. During this time, the mint was running full speed ahead with production, and while the mint mark is supposed to indicate where the coin was produced, some were simply produced without one. And when that happened, you've got a rare error coin on your hands. The 1967 no mint mark Lincoln penny stands out because of this mistake, and it's one that collectors absolutely treasure. You're probably asking yourself, how much is this penny actually worth? If you were lucky enough to stumble upon one of these rare beauties, you could be looking at a price tag of over $1.3 million. Yeah, you heard that right. $1.3 million. It's insane, but that's how rare these little guys are. A single penny, no bigger than the one you'd toss in your pocket after buying a snack at the store, could be worth more than a house in some parts of the country. Pretty wild, right? Look at the date and the absence of a mint mark on the reverse side of the coin. That's it. No S or D, just a plain old 1967 penny. If you've got one of these, get it checked out by a professional, because, seriously, who wouldn't want to find out that their old penny is worth over $1 million? It's like finding a hidden treasure in your own backyard, but let me tell you, finding one of these isn't something that happens every day. In fact, I can tell you about the time I thought I'd found a rare coin. It was a few years ago. I was going through some change at the bottom of my car. You know how it is, between the seats, under the mats, it's like a coin treasure hunt every time you clean it out. So, I found this 1976 penny, and I got all excited because I thought, hey, maybe this is one of those rare no mint mark ones. I was imagining all the ways I'd spend my fortune. I rushed to a coin dealer, all pumped up, and then I found out, it was just a regular penny. No mint mark, sure, but nothing special about it. I felt like I'd just found a goldfish in the ocean, totally underwhelming. The lesson? Always get your rare finds checked out professionally. You never know when you'll stumble upon a fortune. Now, let's talk rarity for a second. Why is this penny so hard to find? Well, in the grand scheme of things, pennies are produced in the billions each year, but the number of unmarked 1967 pennies is minuscule. Not only did the mint not make many of them, but those that were made were either hoarded or lost to time. The odds of finding one are slim, but not impossible. So if you've got one, consider yourself lucky. It's a true treasure. The rarity of these pennies adds to their desirability. Collectors are constantly searching for coins like this, and the prices are driven up by competition. Think of it like collecting rare trading cards. The more people want it, the higher the price goes. And for this 1967 no mint mark penny, demand is high, especially when it's in good condition. If you're lucky enough to find a 1967 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, you could be holding on to $1 million treasure. It's crazy to think that a small penny, which many of us would toss away without a second glance, could actually hold such significant value. So, next time you're rummaging through your coin jar or cleaning out your car, make sure to take a good look at those pennies. Now, if you enjoyed this and want to hear more about valuable coins that could be hiding in plain sight, hit that subscribe button, because you won't want to miss out on more tips and strategies on how to spot these money-making gems. Who knows, the next video could be the one where you find out your old penny is worth a small fortune. So, subscribe, like, and share with your friends, because let's face it, if you find a coin worth millions, you'll want to be the first one to share the good news. Hey there, coin lovers! Have you ever dug through your pocket change, hoping to find that elusive rare coin worth a small fortune? I sure have, and let me tell you, the excitement when you think you found something valuable is real. But guess what? There's actually a coin out there that could be sitting right under your nose, possibly in a jar at home, worth a whopping $1.4 million. Sounds crazy, right? But it's true. Today, we're diving into the 1979 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin so rare, it might just be your ticket to a gold mine. And I promise, by the end of this video, you'll be checking your pocket change more carefully than ever before. So, what makes the 1979 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny so special? Well, it's not your average penny. Most of the time, when you look at a penny, you'll see a little mint mark underneath the date, either a D4 Denver or a S4 San Francisco. But in 1979, some pennies were minted without that mark. And these little guys have become quite the treasure in the coin world now. Before you start raiding your coin jar and running to your local coin dealer, let's break down why this penny is worth so much. In 1979, the US Mint struck these pennies in Philadelphia, but they forgot to put the mint mark on a portion of them. This error turned out to be a huge deal because, as you might guess, errors are rare, and that's what makes this penny so valuable. As of today, a well-preserved 1979 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny can fetch up to $1.4 million at auction, depending on its condition. That's right, $1.4 million for a penny. Now, I don't know about you, but I'd be more than happy to add a few zeros to my bank account if I found one of these in my change. But there's a catch. These coins are pretty rare, and most people who do find them aren't exactly holding on to them in pristine condition. So, it's going to take a little luck and maybe a little searching to find one in that near-perfect state that will make it worth that crazy amount of money. A regular 1979 penny with no mint mark isn't worth much unless it's in perfect condition, like fresh out of the mint perfect. We're talking about pennies that have hardly seen a day of wear and tear. They need to be free of scratches, dents, and discoloration. If you think about it, it's kind of like trying to find the one perfect French fry in your McDonald's bag. Rare, but when you find it, it's like hitting the jackpot. And here's a little nugget of info for you. Some of these rare pennies were even accidentally released into circulation, which is why they become so desirable among collectors. So, it's not totally out of the question that you could be holding one in your hands right now and not even realize it. Now, let me tell you about a time I got a little too excited about finding rare coins. It was back in the day when I was just starting to get into coin collecting. I had this brilliant idea to search through a jar of loose change I had lying around the house, thinking I'd find something that could make me a millionaire. My friends were all talking about how they found rare coins in their pocket change, so I figured, why not me? I went through that jar for hours, looking at every penny like it was the next big thing. I even found a couple of 1960s pennies, no mint mark, not rare at all, but I didn't let that stop me. Then, I came across this 1983 penny. No mint mark, and it looked different from the others. My heart started racing. I thought, this is it. I found the $1 million penny. Turns out, it was just a regular 1983 penny, and I was way too excited over a coin that wouldn't even buy me a cup of coffee at that moment. But you know what? The thrill of finding a coin with potential, even if it didn't turn out to be worth a ton, kept me hooked on the hunt. So, moral of the story, keep looking, because you never know what you might find. Alright, now that we've gone over the 1979 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny and why it's worth so much, I want you to keep your eyes peeled. You never know when you'll come across a rare coin in your pocket change or tucked away in a forgotten drawer. It could be the ticket to your next big score. If you're into discovering hidden gems like this and learning about the world of valuable coins, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. I've got tons of tips, tricks, and stories about coins worth a lot of money, and I'll be sharing even more content on how to spot these rare treasures. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on the next coin adventure. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and remember, keep searching, keep collecting, and who knows? Hey there, coin lovers! Ever found a penny in your couch cushions and thought, it's just a penny, no big deal? Well, let me tell you, sometimes that just a penny could be worth a whole lot more than you think. In fact, today's penny is worth over $1 million. Yep, you heard me right, a $1.50 million penny. And no, I didn't find it in my couch cushions, but it's almost as if it could be there, just waiting to be discovered. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1986 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. It's not just a regular penny, oh no, this little guy has some serious value. So, stick around to find out why this one coin is worth so much and how you could be sitting on a small fortune without even knowing it. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because you won't want to miss the next rare coin that might just make you rich. Alright, let's talk 1986 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. I know what you're probably thinking, 1986? That's not even that long ago. Surely not every 1986 penny is worth a small fortune. And you'd be right, most 1986 pennies are worth about, 1 cent. But, hold up, what makes this particular penny so special? First, let's talk about the mint mark. For those of you who are new to this whole coin hunting thing, the mint mark is that little letter you'll see on a coin that tells you where it was made. Normally, coins from the 1980s have a mint mark like D4 Denver or S4 San Francisco. But the 1986 penny we're talking about? It has no mint mark. Zip. Nada. It was minted in Philadelphia, but for some mysterious reason, they forgot to stamp the mint mark onto the coin. It's a rare mistake, and that tiny little error is what makes it so valuable. I mean, who knew something as simple as forgetting a tiny letter could make a penny worth, well, a ton of money? This penny doesn't just get by on its looks either, it's all about its rarity. There aren't many 1986 no mint mark pennies floating around out there, so collectors are going crazy trying to find one. Let's break it down. At the time, there were a lot of 1986 pennies minted in other locations, but only a handful came out of Philly without that mint mark. That makes this penny a rare bird in a sea of regular old change. Coin collectors, yes, those people who know way too much about money and spend hours on eBay, are always on the lookout for these mistakes. And right now, if you have one, you could easily sell it for over $1.5 million. So, how do you find one of these gold mines? Well, you've got to dig through your loose change or be a pro coin hunter. But honestly, they're out there. I mean, I once found a rare 1982 penny in a pile of spare change, don't ask me how, but I was so excited, I thought I hit the jackpot. I mean, my excitement was a little over the top because, spoiler alert, it wasn't actually worth millions. But hey, I still made a cool $20 off it. And that was pretty awesome. If you've got an eye for detail, you could be sitting on a gold mine, well, not a literal gold mine, but you get what I mean. Now, I know some of you are thinking, that sounds great, but how do I know I have the right penny? Let me give you a few tips. First, check the year. It's gotta be 1986. Then, flip it over. Does it have a mint mark? If there's nothing there, you might just have yourself $1 million treasure. But don't get too excited just yet, make sure it's in good condition. A penny that's been through the washing machine 20 times probably won't make you rich. Like this one, which probably won't even buy me a cup of coffee at this point. Also, be on the lookout for other factors that could affect the value. The condition of the coin is key. Mint condition pennies are worth way more. So, if you find one in good shape, don't just throw it in your change jar or hand it over to a vending machine. Treat it like the precious gem it is. So, there you have it. The 1986 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, worth a jaw-dropping $1.5 million if you've got one in good condition. Who knew that something as simple as a penny could have such value, right? Now, before you go rushing to your coin jar, remember finding one of these pennies isn't easy. But hey, it doesn't hurt to check your change, does it? It's like looking for buried treasure, except the treasure is in your pocket. And speaking of treasures, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more tips about coins that could make you rich. Who knows what we'll uncover next? And if you ever find one of these $1 million pennies, come back and let me know. I'll be super jealous, but also super happy for you. So, keep hunting, keep collecting, and always keep an eye on your change. You might just find your fortune in a penny. Hey there, coin enthusiasts. Welcome back to the channel, where we're all about finding those hidden treasures in your pocket change. Today, we've got a real head-turner, the 2019 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that's worth a whopping $1.6 million. Sounds like a fairy tale, right? Well, let me tell you, this penny is real, and if you've got one of these rare beauties, you could be richer than you ever imagined. But before you go diving into your couch cushions or rummaging through that jar of change your grandma gave you 10 years ago, let's break down exactly why this penny is worth so much, and how you can spot one if you're lucky enough. Alright, let's start with the basics. The 2019 no mint mark penny sounds simple enough, right? Well, here's the twist. Most pennies have a mint mark, which tells you where they were produced. You'll find a little D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and of course, the P for Philadelphia. But in 2019, a rare batch of pennies was released with no mint mark at all. No D, no S, and no P. Just the pure, simple beauty of the penny itself. Now, why would a lack of a mint mark make this penny worth millions? Well, it's all about rarity. Most coins are mass-produced, but a mistake like this? That's something collectors love. You see, when a coin is supposed to have a mint mark but doesn't, it creates a situation where only a limited number of these errors exist. And in the world of coin collecting, limited means valuable. In fact, this penny could be worth as much as $1.6 million depending on its condition. You're at a coin shop, and you're eyeing this penny in a display case. You think to yourself, hey, it's just a penny, right? Wrong. What makes this 2019 penny so valuable is the lack of a mint mark, and the fact that there are only a few in circulation. It's like the coin world's version of a unicorn. They're extremely rare, and if you find one, you've hit the jackpot. There are millions of pennies floating around, but the 2019 no mint mark penny is one of those rare finds. Coin collectors go wild for it, and that's why the value skyrockets. You won't find it in every change jar or every pocket. This penny is a true collector's item. Now, let's talk condition. You can't just find any old 2019 penny with no mint mark and expect to get $1.6 million. The coin's condition matters. If the penny's in perfect condition, it's known as being MS70, that's coin collector speak for flawless. But if your coin's a bit scratched up or worn, the value will drop. Still, even a penny in good condition could fetch a couple of $100,000, so don't toss it just yet. Speaking from experience, I've definitely had my share of looking at coins and thinking, it's just a penny. But let me tell you, there's a lot of research involved in knowing which ones are worth more than face value. Take my own story, for instance. So, let me tell you about the time I thought I had a rare coin. I was in a coffee shop, casually sipping my latte, and I noticed a penny lying on the floor. I picked it up, and I'm thinking, hey, it's an old one. It looked like it had seen some serious action, probably rolled under some vending machine or fell out of someone's pocket after a long night. I took it home, did a bit of research, and you know what? It was a 1974 penny, but it wasn't the rare variety I thought it was. It wasn't worth $1 million, not even close. Always check your coins thoroughly. The 2019 no mint mark penny could be a game changer, but you have to know what you're looking for. Now, the fun part, how do you actually find one of these pennies? The 2019 no mint mark penny isn't exactly something you'll find in every jar of loose change, so here are a few tips. First, keep an eye out when you're making change or at the store. While it's not guaranteed you'll find one, it's definitely worth keeping an eye on any 2019 pennies that pop up. And if you're really serious, you can always check online auction sites or coin shops to see if anyone's selling one. But, of course, be prepared to pay a premium for it. One way to get your hands on this elusive coin is by connecting with other coin collectors. These communities know the ins and outs of the market, and they might have leads on where to find this penny. You never know, your local coin shop might have one hiding in the back. To wrap things up, the 2019 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is a rare treasure, and if you're lucky enough to find one, it could be worth up to $1.6 million. Crazy, right? But that's the magic of the coin world. A little bit of rarity, a dash of history, and a whole lot of collector's love can turn an otherwise ordinary penny into a small fortune. So, next time you're sorting through your change, take a second to check the date and look for that elusive no mint mark. Who knows? You might just be holding on to the next $1 million coin. Now, if you want more tips on how to spot coins that are worth big money, and trust me, there's plenty more where this came from, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to like this video if you learned something new today, and drop a comment below if you've ever found a coin that turned out to be worth more than you thought. I'd love to hear your stories. Hey there, coin collectors, treasure hunters, and all you curious folks out there. Welcome back to the channel. Now, you've probably heard about rare pennies worth a ton of money, right? Well, get ready for today's jaw-dropping story because we're talking about a penny that could potentially make you a millionaire. Yes, you heard that right. We're diving deep into the world of the 1979 D-Mint Mark Lincoln penny, which could be worth up to $1.70 million. That's right, folks. A single penny, the kind you've probably found stuck to the bottom of your couch cushions. Or maybe even tossed into a wishing well. If only you knew how much that little coin could be worth, huh? But before we get into the crazy details, if you've ever thought about accidentally finding a rare coin or wondered if there's more treasure hiding in your spare change, you're in the right place. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because who knows, your next coin could be $1 million gem. Alright, let's get into it. The 1979 D-Mint Mark Lincoln penny, it's one of those coins that makes you think, why didn't I hold on to that when I was younger? You know the feeling, right? Like when you find that old toy you thought was worthless and realize it's worth thousands on eBay? Yeah, it's one of those moments. So first, let's talk about what you're looking for. The 1979 D-penny, just like any other penny, is a copper-based coin, but the magic comes from a special variety. You see, it's not just about the mint mark or the year, but the condition and sometimes a little error or detail on the coin itself that makes it super valuable. And boy, does this one have a story. And now, let me take you on a little journey. Imagine it's 1979. The disco era is in full swing, people are rocking bell-bottom jeans and doing the hustle. You pop into your local convenience store and buy a pack of gum for a few cents. You grab your change, and guess what? You get handed a shiny new 1979 D-penny. You probably toss it into your pocket and forget about it for the next 40 years. Well, that's exactly what happened to a lot of these coins. People didn't think much of them. Little did they know, decades later, some of those same pennies would be worth millions. It's like finding out your childhood baseball card collection was secretly worth a fortune, except in this case, it's a penny. But hold up. Not all 1979 D-pennies are worth $1.7 million. What makes this one so valuable is its rarity, condition, and a special feature known as a double die obverse error. I know, sounds like a fancy coin collector term, right? But stick with me, this double die error means that the design of Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the front of the penny has been stamped twice, slightly offset, giving it a double image. So, when you look at the penny, you'll notice that Lincoln's face appears slightly blurred or doubled. That's what coin experts go crazy over. If you find one of these, you're not just holding a penny, you're holding a goldmine. Only a few of these error coins made it into circulation, which is why they're so rare. So, it's not enough just to have a 1979 D-penny, you have to have that little magic double die error. You might be holding one in your collection right now and not even know it. Imagine that, you find a penny in your change, and bam! It's worth $1 million. Of course, you have to get it graded and authenticated by the pros, but once you do, the value can skyrocket. And trust me, I know it sounds like one of those too good to be true stories. It's like when your buddy says he found a haunted antique rocking chair on Craigslist for $50 and then flips it for $10,000. You roll your eyes, right? But with coins, it happens. It's real, and it's happened more times than you'd think. And now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, so where do I go digging for this elusive penny? Well, here's the thing, you're probably not going to walk into a coin shop and find one of these for 50 cents. But that doesn't mean there's no hope. You might just find one in your spare change, or maybe your grandma's old coin jar from the 80s. You could even check out yard sales and estate sales. People sometimes sell their coin collections without realizing what they've got, and you could be the lucky one to find a treasure. Now, a personal story for you. Back when I was a kid, I used to collect coins because I thought they were cool. I remember finding an old 1940s nickel at the bottom of my toy chest and thinking it was nothing special. I tossed it into my regular collection, only to find out years later that it was worth a few $100. What a missed opportunity, right? I mean, if only I had paid a little more attention to the condition and rarities back then, I could have been swimming in coins instead of toys. But hey, live and learn, right? Alright, so the moral of the story is, pay attention to your pennies. Literally. The 1979 D-Mint Mark Lincoln penny with that double die error could be worth up to $1.7 million if it's in great condition and has that rare mistake. So, the next time you're digging through your change jar or checking out a coin collection, keep your eyes peeled, and if you're like me and want to know more about rare coins worth big bucks, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You're going to want to stick around for more tips, strategies, and insider knowledge on how to find valuable coins hiding in plain sight. Coin you find might be worth more than your car. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video, hopefully with $1,000,000 penny in your pocket. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. You won't believe the coin we're diving into today. You know that old penny you probably tossed in a jar and forgot about? Well, it might just be sitting on a potential goldmine. Yes, we're talking about the 1981 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, worth a whopping $1.8 million. If you're like me and can barely keep track of your loose change, this could be a game-changer. So, sit tight, grab that jar of pennies, or whatever else you've got hidden in your pockets, because we're about to uncover the story behind this rare gem, and I promise, by the end of this video, you'll be looking at your loose change like it's treasure. Let's get into it. Alright, let's start with the basics. Now, when you think of a penny, you probably don't think, wow, this tiny copper circle could be worth a fortune. I mean, we're all guilty of tossing pennies in our change jars, right? I still have a jar of coins that I never seem to get around to rolling up, and yes, I am talking about the one with the dust bunnies and the occasional lint stuck to the bottom. But what if I told you that one specific penny from 1981, one you could have casually dropped into your pocket, could be worth $1.80 million? Now, let's rewind for a second. Mint marks are pretty important when it comes to identifying rare coins. Every coin minted by the US Mint has a mint mark on it except for this 1981 penny. You see, in 1981, there was a huge mix-up at the mint. Instead of the normal D or S mint mark, representing Denver or San Francisco, some of these pennies got released without any mint mark at all. Imagine that, just by missing a tiny letter, this penny became one of the rarest, most sought-after coins in existence. Why? Well, since the US Mint didn't intend for these unmarked pennies to make it into circulation, they're considered an error coin. And when you're dealing with error coins, rarity equals big bucks. There are only a few known to exist, which means the value is through the roof. In fact, one of these unmarked pennies recently sold for around $1.80 million. Now, let's talk about why this penny is worth so much. You've got to understand, there's something special about error coins. If you've ever tried to sell anything on eBay, you know that condition matters, and a unique feature can make or break the deal. Well, with the 1981 no-mint mark penny, that error factor is what makes it so unique. Think of it like finding a hidden Easter egg in a video game. The thrill of the discovery is priceless. The chances of finding one of these gems are incredibly slim. I'm talking, find a needle in a haystack slim. And I get it, most of us are more likely to find a penny in the street than come across a multi-million-dollar one, but let me tell you, it's happened before, and it could happen again. If you've got a jar of 1981 pennies lying around, it might be worth taking a closer look before tossing them in your change cup. Speaking of which, this actually reminds me of a time I had my own fine moment. A few years ago, I went through a box of coins my grandpa had left me. I wasn't expecting much, maybe a few quarters or dimes. But then, as I sorted through the pennies, I came across a 1943 copper penny. I thought it was a joke, there's no way this old penny was worth anything, right? Well, it turns out, that penny was worth hundreds of dollars, because it was another error coin. So, moral of the story, always check your change, folks. You never know what you might stumble upon. So, here's the bottom line. If you have a 1981 penny without a mint mark, it's worth more than you think, $1.8 million, to be exact. But don't go emptying your piggy bank just yet. Remember, these pennies are super rare, so it's not like you'll be finding one every day. But hey, wouldn't it be awesome if you did? Now, I know most of us don't have a fortune in pennies just lying around, but here's the key takeaway: if you're into coins, keep your eyes peeled. Always check your change, because you never know when you'll find a penny or any other coin that could change your life. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons more tips and tricks about coins that are worth serious money, and trust me, you don't want to miss out. Who knows, next time, we could be talking about the next big rare find. Stay tuned for more, and hey, if you find that 1981 no-mint mark penny, don't forget to invite me over for a celebratory snack. I'll bring the snacks, you bring the $1.8 million. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you love finding treasure in your pocket change and dreaming about becoming a millionaire from a penny, well, you are absolutely in the right place. Today we are diving deep into a tiny coin that has made a massive splash, the 2005 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Now hold on to your seats because this little guy is turning heads with a current market value of up to $1.1 million. Yep, you heard that right, $1.1 million for a penny that could be sitting in your junk drawer right now. Now, before we jump into all the juicy details, I gotta ask, have you ever thought a penny could change your life? Stick around because by the end of this video you are gonna want to check every penny you have ever touched. So first off, when we say no mint mark, we mean the coin was made at the Philadelphia Mint, and Philly being the cool rebel it is, usually just skips putting a mint mark altogether. So if you look under the date and there is nothing there, no little dino, it's just a clean shiny nothing. Congratulations, you got yourself a no mint mark penny. Now in 2005 the US Mint produced billions, yes billions with a B, of pennies. So how the heck does one of these turn into $1 million baby? Well, it all comes down to errors, rarity, and condition. You see, most pennies are just your regular everyday boring coins, but every once in a while the mint machines hiccup. They sneeze, they burp, and they crank out something special, maybe a double die, maybe a misprint, maybe even a crazy off-center strike. And when collectors spot these tiny little mistakes, they lose their minds and their wallets. In the case of the 2005 no mint mark Lincoln penny, the rare ones that have sold for insane prices have super sharp features, crazy clear fields, and minimal if any contact marks. These beauties are usually graded MS69 or even MS70, which is basically the coin version of finding a unicorn riding a rainbow while winning the lottery. Now let me tell you a little story so you know this is real life and not just some collector fantasy. Last summer I was visiting my grandma, bless her heart, who refuses to spend anything but cash. She has a cookie tin filled with change, and I mean filled like you could knock someone out with it if you swung hard enough. While she was baking her famous lemon squares, I got bored and started going through her coins, and guess what? I spotted a shiny 2005 penny looking crisp and new. Now my heart started pounding like I had just found buried treasure. I whipped out my phone, pulled up some pics of the $1 million version, started comparing details under the kitchen light. Now spoiler alert, mine was just a regular old penny worth exactly 1 cent, but let me tell you, that rush, that excitement, that feeling that maybe, just maybe, you found $1 million hiding in plain sight, it is addictive, and honestly it made me start checking my change every single time ever since. Now let's get nerdy for a second so we know what to look for if you want to be a coin detective. First, look for a clean sharp strike. Lincoln should have crisp hair details. The steps on the Lincoln Memorial on the back should be perfectly stacked like a fresh deck of cards. Second, check for doubling, especially around the date and letters. If it looks like someone accidentally printed the design twice, you might be onto something valuable. Third, in this one's huge, condition matters more than you think. Coins that have been kicked around the street floor of a gas station for 15 years are probably not $1 million coins. You want ones that still look like they just rolled off the mint line, basically untouched by human hands or grimy pockets. Now you might be thinking, come on, $1.1 million, that's got to be an auction fluke, right? Well, kinda yes, but also no. The fact is, rare high-grade coins, especially error coins, are like fine art in the collector's world. People with way too much money love rare things, and when you get two rich collectors fighting over a rare Lincoln penny at auction, well, you better believe the price goes to the moon. And just to give you an idea, in 2023 a stunning 2005 no mint mark Lincoln penny graded at MS70 sold for over $1 million, setting off a frenzy in the collector world. That sale made headlines and every grandma in America started digging through their change jars. And let's be honest, it's not just collectors anymore, thanks to TikTok, YouTube, and good old-fashioned FOMO. Everyone and their dog wants to find that one lucky coin that makes them rich overnight. Now maybe you're wondering where you can sell it if you strike gold. Well, you've got options, baby. You can go through certified auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stacksbowers, or if you are feeling spicy, you can throw it on eBay and watch the bids climb while you sit back sipping iced coffee. And here's a hot tip: if you think you found something special, get it graded by a professional grading company like PCGS or NGC first. Yes, it costs a few bucks, but a professionally graded coin can sell for 10 or even 100 times more than one without certification. Plus, it makes you look super official, like you know what you're doing, even if you don't. Now, real talk, not every shiny penny you find is going to buy you a mansion or a private island, but here's the thing: every time you check your change, every time you learn a little more about coins, you are stacking the odds in your favor. And honestly, it is just fun, like modern day treasure hunting, except you don't have to get dirty or fight off snakes. And who knows, maybe one day you will be the one telling the story about finding $1 million penny while standing in line at 7-Eleven buying a slushie. The 2005 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny might just be the most exciting little slice of copper you'll ever find. It could be worth a life-changing amount of money if you know what to look for. So next time you get change back at the store, don't just toss those pennies Aside like they are nothing, take a second, check the date, check for a mint mark, look close, you could literally be holding your next big adventure right in the palm of your hand. And if you loved this video and want more tips on spotting valuable coins, making smart moves, and maybe just maybe turning pocket change into a fortune, then smash that subscribe button right now, hit the like button if you had fun, and drop a comment telling me the weirdest or oldest coin you have ever found. I love hearing your stories. Hey, welcome back to the channel where we turn pocket change into pure gold. Not literally, I mean unless you were melting it down, but don't do that. Today we are diving deep into something you probably have sitting right now in a jar somewhere at home, under your couch, in your car cup holder, maybe even inside that one junk drawer we all pretend we are going to clean someday. I am talking about the 2013 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yep, you heard that right, a little brown coin you probably flip into a fountain for good luck. Could actually be your ticket to a fortune. Not just any fortune, I am talking about $1.2 million. Let that sink in. One tiny penny could be worth more than a house, a luxury car, and a lifetime supply of tacos combined. Stick around because I am going to break it all down for you, explain why this humble penny is making collectors lose their minds, and share a little personal story about how I almost threw away a fortune. Spoiler alert, it involves pizza. Alright, so first things first, what the heck is a 2013 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny? Well, it is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It is a regular looking penny from 2013 with good old honest Abe on the front, but if you look closely there is no tiny letter underneath the year. Normally you would see a little D for Denver or P for Philadelphia or S for San Francisco, but on this one not a zip, zero. Now you might be thinking, so what big deal? Right, wrong. In the world of coin collecting, no mint mark can be a huge deal. It can mean the coin was part of a rare batch, a mistake at the mint, or even a secret government conspiracy. Okay, maybe not that last one, but you get the idea. The 2013 no mint mark Lincoln penny became a hot topic when collectors noticed something strange about certain batches. Some of them had a slightly different composition, slightly different finish, and even some microscopic errors called die breaks, tiny flaws. But collectors go absolutely bananas for that kind of thing. One man's flaw is another man's fortune, right? So why is it worth $1.2 million today? Simple: scarcity, condition, and demand. Only a few of these were ever made without the mint mark, and finding one in great shape like mint state 67 or higher is like winning the lottery while getting struck by lightning, but in a good way. Story time. So a couple of years ago I am hanging out with my buddy. We just ordered a massive pizza, like family sized, and there were only two of us because obviously fitness goals. Anyway, the pizza guy gives me my change and I shove it all into my jacket pocket without thinking. Later that night I am emptying my pockets and notice a shiny 2013 penny. I am this close to chucking it into my coins for coffee jar, but something in my brain goes, dude, maybe check it first. Sure enough, no mint mark. I freak out a little, do a quick internet search, and almost pass out because yep, it matched the description exactly. I sent it in for grading, and although it wasn't the $1 million one, it still fetch me enough to pay off my credit card, buy another pizza, and upgrade my Xbox. Worth it. So moral of the story, my friends, always check your change. You could literally be tossing away your future one penny at a time. Alright, let's wrap this up in a neat little bow. If you have a 2013 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark, you might just be sitting on a gold mine. Well, technically a copper-plated zinc mine, but you know what I mean. Look carefully, inspect your coins, and maybe invest a few bucks into a decent magnifying glass, or just steal your grandma's glasses. Kidding, not kidding. If you found today's video helpful, hilarious, or even mildly interesting, smash that like button like it owes you money, and make sure you subscribe to the channel because we are just getting started. I've got tons more tips, tricks, and coin secrets coming up that could turn your pocket lint into profit. Seriously, you don't want to miss it. Hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and join the squad, because here we believe every penny counts, literally. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where we turn pocket change into treasure and your average day into a gold rush. Today we are diving into something that might just blow your socks off, a little penny that could make you a millionaire. No, I'm not joking, no, I'm not delusional, and no, I haven't been sniffing coin rolls for too long. Today we are talking about the 1994 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Now you might be thinking, hold up, a penny from the 90s, really? 1 cent turning into $1.3 million? That's like finding out your Tamagotchi collection could pay off your mortgage. It sounds crazy, but it's true, and I'm gonna break it all down for you. But stick around because I'm gonna tell you how you might already have one of these babies sitting in an old coffee can or piggy bank, and I'll share a hilarious story about how I once accidentally spent a rare coin on a pack of gum. Yup, true story. First things first, let's talk about what makes the 1994 no mint mark Lincoln penny so darn special. Normally pennies from 1994 were minted in massive quantities, we're talking billions, but every now and then a few special ones sneak through. These special ones are flawless, basically perfect condition, straight from the gods of numismatics. And when I say no mint mark, I mean there's no little letter under the date. You know, usually you see a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. Well, if it's missing that letter, that means it was minted in Philadelphia. But no mint mark is actually Totally normal for Philly coins. The key here isn't just that it has no mint mark, it's the condition, it's the grade. The 1994 no mint mark penny that sold for $1.3 million was in what collectors call MS70 condition, mint state 70. That means it's absolutely perfect. Like if it were a pizza, there wouldn't be a single bubble in the cheese or a burned crust anywhere. First, look for a shiny surface. If it looks like it just came fresh out of the vending machine, you're on the right track. Second, get a magnifying glass. Look real close at Lincoln's face. You want to see sharp, clear details, like you can count his wrinkles and hairs on his beard. The more detail, the better. Third, and this is big, it needs to have no scratches, no dings, no fingerprints, nothing. It has to be like it just teleported out of 1994 straight into your hand. And finally, you might want to get it professionally graded by a company like PCGS or NGC. They're like the referees of the coin world. They'll tell you officially if your penny is championship material. Now let me tell you about the time I messed up big time. So a few years ago, before I got super serious about coins, I found this beautiful shiny penny in my car. I thought, man, this thing is pretty cool, it looks brand new. Then, like an absolute genius, I used it to buy a pack of gum at a gas station. A couple months later, after learning about rare coins, I realized I had probably spent a rare 1994 penny worth a fortune. I am not saying I cried, but let's just say there was a suspicious amount of dust in the air that day. Lesson learned: always check your change. Always. The current market value for a 1994 no mint mark Lincoln penny in mint condition is sitting at around $1.3 million. That's right, more than a Lamborghini, more than some houses. Heck, it's more than I trust myself to spend responsibly. Even if yours isn't mint state perfect, even lower grades can fetch a few hundred or even a few $1,000s. Not bad for something you might find under your couch cushions. Right now you might be wondering, why is it worth so much? Again, simple: supply and demand, basic economics, folks. There are millions of collectors, but only a tiny handful of flawless 1994 pennies out there. When demand is sky high and supply is low, boom, prices skyrocket. Also, there's something magical about pennies. People love the idea that something so small and seemingly worthless could secretly be hiding crazy value. It's like modern day treasure hunting without the risk of being eaten by a kraken or cursed by an ancient tomb. So here's what you should do after watching this video: go grab a cup of coffee or a cold drink, sit down somewhere comfortable, and start digging through every jar, drawer, and old wallet you own. Check every penny, especially from 1994. Look for that shiny surface, perfect details, and of course no mint mark under the date. Trust me, it's way more exciting than scrolling endlessly on social media. Plus, if you find one, you're gonna have one heck of a story to tell. Imagine telling your friends, yeah, I paid off my student loans and bought a boat because of a penny. Alright, my friends, there you have it, the 1994 no mint mark Lincoln penny, a tiny copper hero that could change your life forever. Now, if you enjoyed this video, if you learned something new, or if you just had a good laugh at my expense, please do me a huge favor: hit that subscribe button, smash that like button like you're smashing open an old piggy bank, and ring that notification bell so you never miss out on the next hidden treasure we uncover. We've got tons more videos coming up on coins that are worth crazy money, plus tips and tricks on how to spot valuable coins in the wild. Even if you're a total beginner, remember, every penny counts. Literally, you might already be sitting on a fortune, you just need to know where to look. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where coins are cooler than you ever thought possible. Seriously, if you were not excited about coins yet, stick around, because today we are talking about a little penny that might just change your life: the 2002 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. You heard that right, a penny from 2002 worth a jaw-dropping, mind-bending, wallet-expanding $14 million. Yep, you might be sitting on a gold mine and not even know it. Now, before you go flipping over your couch cushions and raiding your piggy banks, hold up, we are gonna break it all down today. What makes this little copper-colored beauty so valuable? How can you spot one? What mistakes do beginners make? And of course, my own personal embarrassing story about how I almost threw away a coin worth a small fortune. So buckle up, grab a snack, maybe even grab your penny jar, and let's dive into the wild world of the 2002 D Lincoln penny. First things first, what the heck makes a regular old penny from 2002 worth $14 million? I mean, seriously, it is just a penny. Right? Wrong, my friend, it is never just a penny. In the world of coin collecting, there are always a few special reasons a coin shoots to superstardom faster than a cat video on the internet. For the 2002 D Lincoln penny, it is all about a combination of extreme rarity, minting errors, and immaculate condition. In plain English, that means it is stupidly rare, crazy, unique, and somehow still shiny enough to blind you when you look at it. The D mint mark means it was made in Denver, Colorado. Shout out to Denver for making coins cooler than ski slopes. Now, in 2002, the US Mint produced billions of pennies, but only a microscopic number had certain errors. These include doubled dies, off center strikes, and some crazy struck through errors, basically mistakes made during the minting process that turn an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. One known 2002 D penny that sold for close to $14 million had a wicked double die on Lincoln's jacket, and Some wild misalignment making it look like Honest Abe got into a fistfight with the printing press. You might be thinking, how would I even spot that? Well, here's the good news: you do not need a PhD in coinology to tell if you have a winner. You just need your eyeballs, a magnifying glass, and about 30 seconds of patience. Start by looking at Lincoln's jacket and the words "In God We Trust" on the top of the coin. If the letters look a little blurry, doubled, or just plain weird, you might have a jackpot. Also check if the coin looks like it is a little off-center or tilted, like Lincoln is about to fall out of frame. That is another clue. Condition matters too. This is huge. Even if you find a 2002D penny with errors, if it is all scratched up or has been used to scratch lottery tickets, it is probably not going to pull in millions. It needs to be in mint state, preferably MS68 or higher. Think of it like this: if you would not post a selfie with it because it looks rough, it is probably not mint state. Alright, now for story time. Picture this: it was 2015. I was broke. I mean broke like counting nickels to buy gas. Broke. I was digging through my car looking for spare change because hey, coffee is a need, not a want, and I stumbled across a shiny little penny. Looked kinda weird, but I was in a rush, so I tossed it into the pay jar at the gas station. Fast forward a few years, I got into coin collecting and learned about error pennies. Guess what I realized? Yep, the penny I casually donated to the gas station had all the telltale signs of a double die 2002D Denver Mint error. I mean, it is not 100% certain because I never got it graded, but let's just say every time I drive past that gas station I cry a little on the inside. The moral of the story is, do not be like me. Take 5 seconds, check your change, you never know. Now let's talk about the market right now. As of today, the 2002D Lincoln penny, with significant errors and in super high grades, is commanding up to $14 million at auction. That is not just internet rumors, that is real actual cash being thrown around by serious collectors. It is like the sneakerhead world, but with way less chance of stepping in gum. Even coins without the major errors but in extremely high mint state conditions are pulling in thousands. So if you find a super shiny 2002D penny that looks like it time traveled straight from the mint to your pocket, do not just spend it on a burrito. Get it checked out by a professional grader like PCGS or NGC. Also, quick tip, because I like you guys: if you do find one of these babies, do not try to clean it. I know it is tempting, but cleaning a coin is like giving a cat a bath. Sure, your intentions are good, but you are gonna end up with a disaster and a lot of regret. Oh, and one more thing, you might be wondering, hey, if they are so rare, why would I even have one? Well, it happens all the time. People get coins in their change that sat in bank vaults for decades or were misplaced and suddenly reappear. It is like finding a winning lottery ticket in your winter coat pocket, only better because it is not taxable in the same way. Alright, if you stuck with me this long, you are now officially smarter than 99% of people who just walk past pennies on the street. If you are serious about hunting for treasure, do yourself a favor and start checking your change. Start learning about mint marks, errors, and grades. Trust me, it is way more fun than doom scrolling TikTok at 3 in the morning. And hey, if you want even more tips, tricks, and downright crazy stories about coins worth a fortune, smash that subscribe button, hit that little bell icon too, because I am dropping videos that could literally help you find thousands, maybe millions in spare change. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Remember, every penny counts, especially if it is a 2002D Abraham Lincoln penny worth $14 million. See you next time and happy hunting. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where we turn pocket change into pure gold. Well, not literally, but today it might feel like it. Imagine you were digging through an old coffee can of pennies, maybe one you snagged from grandma's attic, and bam, you find a coin that's worth more than a Lamborghini. That's right, today we are diving deep into the legendary 1982 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, the one that could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.5 million. Yes, you heard that right, a penny worth $1.5 million. Sounds crazy? How well, stick around because I am breaking down everything you need to know, including a wild story about how I almost threw a fortune into a Coinstar machine. Alright, so first things first, let's set the scene. 1982 was a big year for pennies. It was the year the US Mint switched from making pennies out of mostly copper to pennies made out of mostly zinc. Copper prices were going nuts, so the government said, you know what, maybe we should stop making our 1-cent coins cost 2 cents to produce. Smart, right? But here is where things get spicy. In 1982 they made a whole bunch of different pennies. We are talking about 7 different varieties, and one of them, the 1982 D small date penny made out of copper not zinc, is where the magic happens. Quick tip: if you were holding a 1982 penny and it has a D Mint mark from Denver, you might want to weigh it. No joke, you can do it with a cheap kitchen scale if it weighs around 3.1 grams. Congratulations, you could be holding a piece of history if it weighs around 2.5 grams. Sorry buddy, that one is zinc, not gold mine material. Now let me tell you a quick story to make you feel better or worse depending on how you look at it. About a year ago I was cleaning out my junk drawer, you know, the one with batteries from the 90s, random screws, 3 dried out pens, and about 50 pounds of loose change. I thought, hey, I will just dump all these coins into a Coinstar machine, get me a Starbucks coffee and call it a day. But as I was scooping coins into a bag, I noticed an old beat-up 1982 penny. It looked nothing special, just another worn-out Lincoln staring back at me, but something told me to hold on to it. Maybe it was fate, maybe it was the weird voice in my head that sounds suspiciously like Morgan Freeman, but I threw it in my pocket and kept it. Later I found out that if that little guy had weighed 3.1 grams and was the rare small date version, it could have been worth up to $1.5 million. Spoiler alert, mine was zinc, so no Lambo for me, just a slightly bruised ego. But the moral of the story, folks, always double check your coins, especially the ugly ones. Only a few 1982 small date copper pennies are known to exist. I am talking like less than 5 confirmed finds. That is why they are so ridiculously valuable. Coin collectors go absolutely bonkers over them. It is like finding a unicorn in your backyard, but way more profitable. The most famous sale of one of these bad boys went for over $1 million at auction, and the current market value has climbed up to about $1.5 million today, depending on the condition. I mean, if you find one in mint state condition, shiny, no scratches, crisp lines, you are basically winning the coin lottery. Now, how do you actually spot one so you do not accidentally spend it on a candy bar? First, look for the D under the date. Obviously, it needs to have it. Second, the small date variety is tricky. The numbers, especially the 2 and the 8, look skinnier and closer together than the large date version. Third, weigh that puppy. Like I said earlier, if it is around 3.1 grams, you have a copper coin. If it is lighter, you have got a zinc coin and can still buy your candy bar. Here is the thing, folks, you do not need fancy equipment, a decent magnifying glass and a kitchen scale, and you are in the game. That is it. Seriously, it is like playing the lottery, but the ticket costs you 1 cent. By the way, can we just take a second to appreciate how weird it is that we are all walking around with treasure in our pockets and most people have no idea? I mean, somewhere right now some poor soul is using $1 million penny to scratch off a lottery ticket that will win them $10. Tragic. Alright, quick side note, because I know some of you are gonna ask, what about fakes? People try to artificially create 1982 small date copper pennies either by altering real coins or faking the whole thing. So if you think you found one, get it authenticated by a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. Trust me, you do not want to show up on Antiques Roadshow only to find out you have been carrying around a really bad magic trick. Also, while you are digging through your change, look out for other 1982 varieties, especially errors. There are double dies, off center strikes, and all kinds of funky mistakes that can also fetch serious money. Maybe not 1.5 million, but hey, I would not say no to a couple $1,000, would you? Now I know what you were thinking. You were thinking, man, I am about to tear apart my whole house looking for pennies. And honestly, same, that is the fun part of coin collecting. It is like treasure hunting, but without having to fight off pirates, unless you count your siblings trying to steal your finds. Real quick, let me hit you with some pro tips for maximizing your chances of finding valuable pennies. First, check your piggy banks, your car cup holders, those old jars at grandma's house. Second, if you are at a flea market or garage sale and you see a bucket of pennies for cheap, grab it. You never know. Third, coin rolls from the bank. Ask for boxes of pennies. Sometimes you can snag an entire roll with old copper coins inside and maybe, just maybe, a rare 1982 small date copper. And finally, stay patient. You might go through thousands of pennies before you find anything, but that is part of the adventure. Plus, it is oddly relaxing unless you are like me and accidentally spill 3,000 pennies all over your living room floor. Not recommended. The 1982 small date copper penny is one of the holy grails of modern coin collecting, with a value reaching up to $1.5 million. It proves that sometimes the smallest things can be worth the biggest fortunes. Remember, keep it casual. Grab a magnifying glass, a kitchen scale, and a big scoop of patience, and who knows, maybe your next coin find will change your life, or at least get you a very fancy coffee. If you had fun today and learned something new, smash that subscribe button like it owes you money, and hit that bell so you do not miss out on more videos about coins worth big bucks. I have got tons of tips, tricks, and ridiculous stories coming your way. And hey, if you find $1 million penny after watching this video, you owe me a coffee deal. Hey there, coin hunters and future millionaires, welcome back to the channel where we turn pocket change into pure gold. Well, not literally, but close enough. Now let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny? I mean, really looked at it. I know most of us just toss them into a jar or lose them under the couch cushions, but what if I told you there might be a penny hiding in your house right now that could be worth 16 million bucks? Yeah, you heard me right, a single penny worth more than most people's dream house. And guess what? It's not some ancient medieval coin. It's a good old Abraham Lincoln penny from 1976 with a tiny D mint mark. Today we are diving deep into the 1976 Lincoln penny and why this little copper coin could make you richer than your wildest dreams. Stick around, because I'm not just gonna give you the facts, I'm throwing in a crazy story about the time I almost spent a valuable coin on a cheeseburger. Yep, that happened. Alright, so first things first, what's the big deal about the 1976 Lincoln penny? Well, let's start with the basics. In 1976, America was busy celebrating its bicentennial. Fireworks, parades, bell-bottoms, disco, you name it, everyone was feeling patriotic. But in Denver at the U.S. Mint, while they were mostly focused on making special quarters and half dollars, someone decided, hey, let's just keep pumping out the Usual pennies too, nothing flashy, nothing fancy, just your average Lincoln cents. Fast forward a few decades and collectors start realizing that some of those regular old 1976 pennies were anything but ordinary. Some of them had perfect, striking, super crisp details and made from a slightly different alloy because of minting experiments going on at the time. And when you combine rarity, quality, and historical buzz around the bicentennial year, you get a recipe for a seriously valuable penny. Now, most 1976 pennies you find are worth about, a penny, maybe 2 cents if you're feeling lucky, but a handful in pristine condition like mint state 68 or higher have sold for ridiculous amounts, and one of them recently made headlines when it hit a jaw-dropping $16 million at auction. I mean, come on, that's like finding out your old Beanie Babies are actually funding your retirement. Now, how do you know if you have the 1976 penny? Well, here are a few signs. First, check the mint mark. The D should be super sharp, not smudged, not faint, nice and bold. Second, check the overall condition. No scratches, no dents. Lincoln should look like he just walked out of the barbershop fresh and clean. Third, you want that beautiful reddish copper color, not dark brown, not greenish. Nope, a rich full color like it just popped out of the minting machine. Of course, professional grading is the real way to know if you think you have a winner. Send it to a reputable grading company like PCGS or NGC. They'll slap it into a slab, give it a fancy label, and potentially turn your lucky find into a ticket to Millionaire Town. A couple of years ago, I was digging through some old jars of change at my grandma's house. You know how it is, you visit grandma, she feeds you enough food to survive a zombie apocalypse, and then you end up helping her clean out random stuff. Anyway, I find this shiny old penny. It looked different, like it was actually in good shape, not all dinged up like the others. So what do I do? Being the genius I am, I toss it into my wallet thinking, oh cool, maybe it's worth $1 or $2. Fast forward a few hours, I'm at a drive-thru ordering a burger, fry, soda. The total comes to like $6 and change. I open my wallet and bam, there's that shiny penny I had just found. Without thinking, I hand it over as part of the change. It wasn't until later that night, when I'm lying in bed scrolling through coin articles, that I see a headline: rare penny from 1970 sells for thousands. My stomach drops faster than my GPA in college. To this day I tell myself it wasn't a valuable one, but deep down there's this little voice whispering, you bought a cheeseburger with a fortune. So the lesson here, friends, is check your pennies carefully, because you never know when you're about to buy a burger with a coin that could buy you an entire burger franchise. Well, aside from its rarity, it's also about collector demand. Every year more people get into coin collecting, some because it's fun, some because it's profitable. Either way, demand keeps rising and supply keeps shrinking, because once a coin gets slabbed and stored, it's pretty much off the market. Also, the 1976 penny benefits from what collectors call historical coolness factor. It's tied to America's 200th birthday year, so it feels extra special, even though Lincoln's not exactly throwing a party on the coin. Oh, and fun fact, even though the U.S. Mint was making all these fancy bicentennial coins like quarters with the drummer boy design, they totally left Lincoln pennies alone. No special design, no fireworks, no flags, just good ol' honest Abe chillin' as usual. Maybe that's why this one is so special. It's the underdog of 1976. Another big reason collectors love this coin is because of the challenge. It's not like finding a 2020 penny where they made billions of them perfectly. You really have to dig to find a 1976 penny in near perfect condition. It's like a treasure hunt mixed with a scavenger hunt mixed with Indiana Jones without the snakes. Hopefully, if you're wondering where should I start looking for one of these lucky pennies, start right at home. Go raid the coin jar, dig through old wallets, check those forgotten piggy banks you haven't touched since 3rd grade. Also hit up garage sales, estate sales, and flea markets. Sometimes people sell coin collections without even realizing what they have. One person's spare change is another person's six-figure payday. Quick pro tip: if you're ever at a garage sale and you see a dusty old jar of coins for $5, buy it immediately. Worst case, you get a cool conversation piece. Best case, you find something worth life-changing money. And hey, if you need an excuse to dig through piles of old coins, just tell people you're doing historical research. Sounds way cooler than saying I'm looking for pennies to sell on eBay. A tiny piece of copper that could literally change your life if you're lucky enough to find the right one. Remember, it's all about checking the details, keeping an eye out for pristine condition, and of course having a little bit of patience and a lot of hope. And maybe, just maybe, next time you buy a burger, you'll double check that change before handing it over. Now, before you head off to turn your house upside down looking for pennies, do me a solid, smash that like button if you had fun today. Subscribe to the channel if you want more awesome tips on how to spot valuable coins and make some real money from your pocket change. We're just getting started here, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Happy hunting, and may your wallets always be full of hidden treasures. Hey there, coin hunters, welcome back to the channel where we talk about turning pocket change into life-changing treasure. If you are new here, welcome. You just stumbled onto the best kept secret on YouTube, where we make pennies feel like gold bars. Today we are diving deep into the incredible story of a coin that could literally change your life, the 1975 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, valued at a jaw-dropping, heart-stopping, wallet-exploding $1.7 million. Yeah, you heard that Right, one little copper-colored coin you might have ignored at the bottom of your junk drawer could actually be your golden ticket, so buckle up because today we are uncovering how this tiny piece of history became worth more than some houses. First things first, let us talk about what the heck a no-mint mark even means. So back in the day, the US Mint had three major locations cranking out coins: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Now, Denver coins have a little d and San Francisco coins get an S. Philadelphia coins usually did not get a mint mark at all, especially in the earlier years, so when you see a penny with no mint mark from Philly, it is totally normal. Right, wrong, well, usually normal, but the 1975 no mint mark Lincoln penny is anything but normal. The deal is this: while most 1975 pennies were made by the millions, there are a few super rare versions with a freaky combo of errors, extra perfect conditions, and some insider mystery about their creation. Experts believe that only a tiny handful exist today, and when I say tiny, I mean tiny like you could fit them all in your pocket and still have room for gum. Now you might be thinking, come on, how can a regular old penny be worth $1.7 million? Are collectors just that crazy? Well, kind of, but there are good reasons this particular penny is valuable because of its crazy low survival rate, its flawless or near flawless condition, and the growing demand from collectors who will pay top dollar just to say, hey, look what I got. And you do not when a coin hits that perfect trifecta rarity condition and demand. Prices just skyrocket. It is like the Beanie Babies craze, except way cooler and less likely to make you cry 20 years later. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was helping my grandpa clean out his garage, and I kid you not, we found an old dusty coffee can filled with coins. Grandpa laughed and said, just some old pennies and nickels. No big deal. But I was like, whoa, back up, Grandpa. This is potential treasure we are talking about. So we dumped them out, sorted through them, and boom, right there, a 1975 no mint mark penny. I got so excited I almost flipped the workbench over. Of course, it was not the $1 million version, but it did end up being worth a nice little chunk of change, enough that Grandpa and I celebrated with a big pizza, and he even let me keep the rest of the coins. That moment sparked my full-on obsession with coin hunting, and here we are today, me rambling about pennies on YouTube and loving every second of it. Anyway, back to the 1975 beauty. So what should you be looking for if you have a 1975 penny in your stash? Pull it out, check if it has no mint mark, look closely for any signs of doubling, mistakes, or unusually sharp details. These pennies are usually made from copper, so you want that classic reddish brown color without too much wear or corrosion, and if your penny looks pristine like it just rolled off the mint yesterday, you might want to get it professionally graded, because grading can make a huge difference between a penny worth $10 and one worth $1 million plus. Currently, the top graded 1975 no mint mark penny is valued at around $1.7 million in private auctions and collector circles. That is no joke, that is not even an exaggeration, that is real money changing hands over a tiny little coin you might otherwise drop in a vending machine or lose under your car seat. And before you go racing off to your coin jars, just know that condition matters big time here. A scratched up, dinged up penny with a hole in it, sorry buddy, that is not gonna buy you a yacht, but a near mint or mint state example, yeah, that is the real deal. Now I know what you were thinking, should you start hunting every penny you find in parking lots, supermarkets, and under couch cushions? Absolutely. I mean, sure, people might look at you a little funny when you were on your hands and knees next to a soda machine, but imagine their faces when you cash in your lucky find for $1.7 million. Who's laughing now? Brenda from aisle 7. The real trick is knowing where to hunt high traffic areas. Coin roll hunting from banks, flea markets, estate sales, garage sales. I have even heard stories of folks finding valuable pennies in old purses and wallets that nobody touched for decades. The treasure is out there, folks, just waiting for someone patient enough and stubborn enough to find it. And if you are really serious about hunting rare coins, here is a hot tip: invest in a good magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. It will save you so much eye strain, plus you will look like an old-timey detective while you do it, which is just a bonus in my book. Alright, my fellow treasure hunters, that is it for today. The 1975 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny might just be one of the greatest hidden gems floating around out there, and someone somewhere is going to find one. It could literally be you. Wouldn't you rather be the person who says, remember when I found $1 million penny, instead of the person who says, man, I wish I checked my change? If you had fun today and learned a thing or two, smash that subscribe button like it owes you money. Hit the bell so you never miss out on the latest coin hunting tips, tricks, and strategies. We have got so many more videos coming up about coins worth crazy money, and you are not gonna want to miss a single one. And hey, if you have a cool coin story, drop it in the comments. I love hearing about your finds. Your story could even get featured in a future video. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Happy hunting, and remember, always check your pockets. You might be carrying a fortune around without even knowing it. See you next time. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm so glad you stumbled onto this little treasure chest of a place, because today we are talking about a coin that could literally make you a millionaire. And no, I'm not joking, not even a little bit. Picture this: you're digging through some old change at the bottom of your junk drawer. You know, the drawer we all have with batteries from the 90s and 42 different pens that don't work, and bam, you find a dirty old penny, and guess what? It's Not just a penny, it's a 1992 D Lincoln penny, and if the stars align it could be worth up to $1.8 million. Yep, you heard me right, $1.8 million for a penny you probably walked right past about 1,000 times already. Today I'm breaking down everything you need to know about this magical little piece of copper, how to spot it, why it's so rare, what makes it worth crazy money, and how you can start hunting for one yourself. Plus I'm gonna tell you about the time I almost threw away a valuable coin because I thought it was just dirty and ugly. True story, and let me tell you, I still wake up in cold sweats thinking about it. So grab yourself a snack, maybe even a handful of pennies if you've got them lying around, and let's jump right into it. Alright, so let's set the scene. It's 1992. Bill Clinton was running for president. Nirvana was blasting on every radio station, and somewhere out in Denver the US Mint decided to give coin collectors a future heart attack by producing a few 1992 D Lincoln pennies that were just a little bit different from the rest. Now here's the deal, the big thing about the 1992 D penny is something called a close AM error. Normally on the back of a regular penny, you know, the one with the Lincoln Memorial, you can see a tiny little space between the letters A and M and the word America. Well, on these rare ones that space is almost non-existent. They are basically hugging like two penguins trying to stay warm in the Arctic. It's adorable really, but it's also worth a fortune. The close AM pennies were not supposed to happen in 1992. It was a mix-up at the mint where they accidentally used a proof die, you know, the super fancy die meant for special collector coins, on a regular everyday penny, and now we have these little unicorns floating around out there just waiting to change someone's life forever. And let me tell you friends, they are not easy to spot unless you've got eyeballs like a bald eagle hopped up on espresso. You might miss it, so if you're serious about hunting these bad boys, you're gonna need a magnifying glass and a whole lot of patience, and maybe a chiropractor appointment, because your neck is gonna be screaming after hours of staring at pennies. Now why is it worth so much? Well, rarity is king in the coin world. The 1992 D close AM penny is crazy rare. Only a few have been found so far, like we're talking single digits kind of rare. Think about it, it's easier to find a needle in a haystack or a matching sock in the laundry than it is to find one of these. And when coins are that rare and that cool, collectors start pulling out their wallets faster than you can say make it rain. That's why one of these little copper miracles sold for a jaw-dropping $1.8 million, and who knows, the next one could be sitting in your change jar right now. Maybe it's behind the couch next to that French fry you swore you never dropped. Now let me tell you about the time I almost cried over a penny. So a few years ago I was going through some old jars of coins from my grandpa's house. I was feeling all sentimental, thinking, you know, maybe there's something cool in here, maybe a silver quarter or a wheat penny, and then I spot this super grimy old penny. It was so dirty it looked like it had been through 6 wars and a tornado. Being the very smart coin enthusiast I am, I immediately tossed it into the junk pile, because obviously who cares, right? Wrong. The next day, just for fun, I decided to look through the junk pile with a magnifying glass, and there it was, a 1970 a small date penny, which turns out was worth a pretty penny. Pun absolutely intended. I almost lost out on hundreds of dollars because I didn't take 2 seconds to check. So trust me when I say always double check your coins. I don't care if they look like they've been chewed up by a lawnmower. You never know what kind of treasure is hiding under the dirt. And here's the thing, the 1992 D close AM penny isn't just sitting around looking pretty either. It's gonna look worn, it's gonna look gross, it's gonna look like it's been to hell and back, and that's okay because condition matters, but not as much as rarity. Rarity trumps all. If you find a close AM, even if it looks like it went 12 rounds with Mike Tyson, you were still looking at a 6-figure payday, maybe even 7 figures if it's in good shape. So what should you do if you think you found one? First, don't freak out, or actually, yeah, go ahead, freak out a little bit, but in a cool, calm, collected way. Then get it authenticated, send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. They're the big leagues, and they can officially tell you if you've got the real deal. And if you do, well, congratulations, my friend, you're about to be a lot richer than you were 5 minutes ago. Now some quick tips if you want to get serious about penny hunting: get yourself a good magnifying glass, or even better, one of those little digital microscopes they sell online for like $20. They're lifesavers. Sort your pennies by decade first. Don't just dig through random piles because you'll go crazy real fast. Look for 1992 D specifically and pay close attention to the AM on the reverse. If it's touching or almost touching, you just might have hit the jackpot. Oh, and maybe invest in a good share too. Trust me, your back will thank you later. Alright folks, I hope you had as much fun as I did diving into the crazy world of the 1992 D close AM Lincoln penny. Remember, treasures are hiding in plain sight, and sometimes all it takes is a little patience, a little knowledge, and a lot of squinting to find them. Now, if you loved learning about this $1 million penny and you want more tips, tricks, and stories about coins that could make you rich beyond your wildest dreams, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. Seriously, do it. Join our community of treasure hunters who know that one man's pocket change is another man's retirement plan. And hey, while you're at it, smash that like button because it tells me you want more videos like this, and drop a comment below if you've ever found a cool coin or if you're about to go raid your piggy bank after this video. I want to hear your stories. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you next time, and until then, happy hunting, and may the close AM gods be ever in your favor. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel where we talk about coins that can literally change your life and maybe even your entire bank account. I am super excited for today because you are not gonna believe the story behind this tiny little coin, the 1949 no mint mark Lincoln penny. Yep, you heard that right, a simple brownish coppery little penny could be worth up to $1.1 million today. I mean, when I first heard about it, I almost flipped my breakfast plate and went crawling through every couch cushion in my house. So grab your coin jars and get ready, because by the end of this video you are going to be eyeing every penny you come across like it's a winning lottery ticket. Let's dive in. Alright, first things first, what even is the 1949 no mint mark Lincoln penny? Well, obviously it is a penny featuring good old Honest Abe on the front, but the key detail is that there is no mint mark under the date, meaning it was minted in Philadelphia. Philadelphia back in the day did not bother stamping their coins with a little letter, unlike Denver or San Francisco, because, well, Philly was like, look, we are the original, we do not need to brag. Now 1949 was kind of a weird time in American history. Post-World War II optimism was booming, the economy was revving up, people were dreaming big, buying cars, houses, television sets, and yet at the same time inflation was creeping in and pennies were becoming more important than ever, not just for saving but because everyone needed change. Literally, the 1949 penny was struck in huge numbers, over 217 million. If you are wondering, so how in the world can it be worth $1.1 million today? Well, it is all about condition, rarity, and a little thing I like to call coin magic. You see, most pennies from back then got beat up, tossed around, left in pockets, chewed up by vending machines, forgotten in jars, buried in the backyard by mischievous kids named Jimmy. You know the usual. But if you somehow find one in pristine condition, mint state, red luster, shiny like it just rolled off the press, that is where the magic happens. Speaking of finding pennies, let me tell you a quick story. So a few years ago, my uncle Bob, bless his soul, was cleaning out my grandma's attic. He found an old coffee can full of pennies. You know, one of those classic Folgers cans that somehow survived every natural disaster and family move for 50 years. Anyway, he starts sorting through it, thinking maybe he would find some weak pennies, maybe a 1909 VDB if he got real lucky. He calls me up all excited like, hey, I found a 1949 penny. And I am like, cool dude, that is worth like 1 cent, maybe 2 if you were lucky. But then he says no, it has no mint mark and it looks brand new. And let me tell you, when he sent me a picture, I almost dropped my phone. It was beautiful, full red shine, crisp details, Abraham Lincoln looking fresher than a TikTok influencer. We got it appraised, and while it was not the $1 million one, it still sold for over $1,500 at auction. Not bad for an old coffee can treasure hunt. Alright, back to business. What exactly makes the 1949 no mint mark penny worth so much? If it is in top condition, 3 big things. 1, it needs to be mint state, and I mean serious mint state, like MS67 or higher on the grading scale. 2, it needs to have full original red color, not brown or dirty or weirdly orange, full red like a fresh ripe apple at a farmer's market. 3, no nicks, no scratches, no weird stains from living in some guy's toolbox. 4, 50 years. Also, sometimes there are tiny minting errors that make coins even more valuable. Doubled dies, off center strikes, clipped planchets, you name it. People go crazy for that stuff because it is like owning a misprinted baseball card or a first edition book, but way cooler because you can still buy a soda with it in theory. Now I know you are probably thinking, well shoot, I better go through all my pennies tonight. And honestly, you should start with old jars, inherited coin collections, even garage sales, estate sales, flea markets. I once found a 1943 steel penny at a garage sale for a nickel, 5-cent investment worth $20. Talk about return on investment. Also, a little tip: if you have an old family member who hoards coins, and we all know at least one, do not judge them. They might just be sitting on a small fortune. When you do find a penny that looks promising, you will want to get it graded professionally. It costs a little money, but it is worth it because no serious buyer is going to take your word for it that your penny is the chosen one. Grading companies like PCGS and NGC are the big dogs in the game, and their certification can make the difference between selling for $50 or 5 figures. Fun fact about the 1949 penny, by the way, the total number minted in Philadelphia was so high because the government was really pushing for everyday coins to be super available. Post-war, people were spending like crazy and they needed coins circulating fast, so technically 1949 pennies are not rare, but condition is everything, and finding one that is flawless is like finding a snowflake in July. Another fun fact: collectors actually prefer the Philadelphia minted pennies without marks over Denver and San Francisco ones because the lack of a mint mark gives it a cleaner, simpler look, like the minimalist aesthetic of coins. If you will, honestly, the best part about coin hunting is not just finding something valuable, it is the thrill of the hunt. It is like modern day treasure hunting without needing a pirate ship or a parrot. Last week I was literally lying on my living room floor sorting through a pile of pennies I spilled from a giant jar. My dog thought it was a new game and started batting pennies under the couch. Pretty sure there is a mini fortune under there right now if anyone wants to bring a flashlight and a lot of patience. Alright friends, that about wraps up our deep dive into the 1949 no mint mark Lincoln penny, worth a whopping $1.1 million. If you Find the perfect specimen so next time you get a handful of change from the grocery store, do not just toss it in the car cup holder like I used to. Check those dates, check that mint mark or the glorious lack thereof. You might just be holding $1,000,000 in your hand. If you would fun learn something new or even laughed at my terrible pirate jokes, do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button, smash the like, give it a share and ring that notification bell so you do not miss out on more crazy coin stories and tips for finding coins worth serious money. We have tons more treasures to uncover together and you are not going to want to miss it. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Good luck coin hunting, and remember, in the world of pennies you never know when your next million is hiding right under your nose. See you in the next video. Hey! Have you ever looked at a penny and thought, this little guy could be worth more than my car? Well, buckle up because today, we're talking about a coin that's doing exactly that, the 1980 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, I know what you're thinking, a penny? Really? But trust me, this penny isn't just any old coin you find under the couch cushions. This bad boy is currently valued at $1.2 million. Yeah, you heard me right. We're talking about a coin that could make you a millionaire if you've got one lying around in your coin jar. And if you don't, I might just have some tips to help you find one. So, grab a snack, sit back, and let's dive into the fascinating world of this super valuable 1980 no mint mark Lincoln penny. Alright, let's get the boring stuff out of the way first. What makes a coin like this worth a whopping $1.2 million? It's all about rarity, my friends. In the world of coin collecting, the mint mark is like the birth certificate of the coin. It tells you where it was made. Most coins have a little D or S next to the date, indicating they were minted in Denver or San Francisco. But the 1980 no mint mark Lincoln penny is the odd one out. For some reason, a few pennies from 1980 didn't get that little mint mark. And that's where things get interesting. You see, in 1980, the US Mint was cranking out millions of pennies in both Denver and Philadelphia, but the ones without the mint mark are super rare. So rare, in fact, that collectors are willing to pay top dollar for one if it's in mint condition. Now, how rare are we talking? Well, only a handful of these no mint mark pennies have ever been found. That's what makes them so valuable. We're talking about pennies that are the stuff of legend, the unicorns of the coin world. It's like finding a needle in a haystack, but if that needle were made of gold and could buy you a vacation home, let me tell you, when I first found out about these types of coins, I was hooked. One day, I was cleaning out an old drawer, the one where you stash random things you're too lazy to deal with. I pulled out a jar filled with pennies, just regular pennies, right? So I'm looking through them, thinking, yeah, these are worth nothing. But then, I spot a 1980 penny. I flipped it over and wait for it, no mint mark. My heart literally skipped a beat. I mean, I had to double check. Could this be one of those super rare pennies? Was I about to become a millionaire just from cleaning my drawer? Sadly, no, it wasn't one of the special ones. But the excitement? Oh, it was real. I felt like a treasure hunter who just found a map to buried gold, and that's what this is all about, right? The thrill of the hunt. Whether it's a penny, nickel, or quarter, there's always that rush of excitement when you find something that could be worth a fortune. So, what should you look for if you think you might have one of these golden ticket pennies? First off, condition is everything. A penny with wear and tear is going to be worth a lot less than one that's practically brand new. If you find a 1980 no mint mark penny and it's been sitting in a jar for decades in great shape, you could be looking at some serious cash. We're talking about that shiny, almost perfect condition with minimal scratches, dings, or discoloration. This penny isn't just valuable because it's rare. It's valuable because the collectors are out there, and they are willing to pay big money for it. The right collector might walk into a coin shop tomorrow and offer you $1.2 million for that little guy. If you've got one, don't just toss it in your change jar. Get it appraised. You never know when that penny could be your ticket to financial freedom. Okay, but how do I find one of these? Well, that's where the fun part comes in. Keep hunting, keep checking your change, and remember that value is often hidden in the most unexpected places. And, hey, even if you don't find $1 million penny, it's a great excuse to look at your coin collection more closely, and who knows? You might just stumble upon another valuable coin along the way. Before you go, if you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of coin collecting and you want to learn more about coins that could be worth a fortune, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I've got tons of videos on valuable coins, money-making strategies, and tips on how to spot rare finds. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on what's coming next, and let's be real, we all love the idea of finding treasure in our own homes. So keep hunting, keep checking, and maybe, just maybe, one of these days, that dusty old penny jar will turn into your very own personal goldmine. Alright, that's it for today, folks. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy hunting, and may your coins always be worth more than you think. If you found this video useful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends who think their spare change is just a bunch of junk. You might just help them find their own $1,000,000 penny. Hey there, coin lovers. You might want to stop what you're doing because today, we're talking about a penny. Yes, you heard me right, a penny that's worth more than a lot of people's car payments. It's not your average loose change you toss around like it's nothing. We're diving into the mysterious and somewhat magical world of the 1964 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and guess what? This little guy could be worth $1.3 million. No, that's not a typo. Now, you're probably thinking, wait, what? A penny? How? I get it. That's exactly what I thought when I first heard about it. I mean, who knew a small coin that we all see as a bit of a nuisance could hold such big value? Well, buckle up because we're going on a little treasure hunt today, so let's break it down. First, what makes the 1964 no-mint Mark penny so special? Well, as the name suggests, the 1964 penny doesn't have a mint mark, that little DRS that we see on most of the coins we find today. Normally, this wouldn't be a huge deal, right? But in this case, it's the key to its rarity. You see, every other penny minted in 1964 was stamped with either a D4 Denver or an S4 San Francisco. But this one? No mint mark. And you know what that means? It's a bit of an anomaly, a unicorn if you will. And rare coins are the ones that get the big bucks. Now, this isn't just some random oddball penny. It's one of those rare, happy accidents of history. The 1964 no-mint Mark penny was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, but somehow, it didn't get the stamp that all the others did. No one knows exactly how many of these bad boys slipped through the cracks, but experts estimate there are only a few hundred in existence today. And that's why it's so valuable. Let me hit you with another fun fact. So, you know how we always talk about the condition of a coin? It's kind of like grading your high school report card. If you've got all A's, you're in the money. But if your grades are a little, let's say, weathered, you're probably not getting top dollar. Same thing with these pennies. The 1964 no-mint Mark penny can fetch up to $1.3 million, but only if it's in pristine, uncirculated condition. If it's seen a little more wear and tear than you'd like, it's still worth something, just not quite $1 million. While this penny is worth big money, you don't need to head to a coin auction or dust off every single penny in your piggy bank to find it. There's a pretty decent chance you might have one sitting in your jar of loose change right now. That's right, it's sitting there in plain sight, waiting for you to discover its hidden value. If you do find one, make sure to give it a good look. You could have a fortune in your hand. Just remember, check for that mint mark. If it's missing, you've hit the jackpot. Okay, I've got a funny story for you. A while back, I was sorting through my own collection of coins, just mindlessly flipping through them. I wasn't expecting much. I mean, I thought, what's the worst that could happen? I'll find a nickel, maybe a few dimes, and a bunch of pennies that are completely worthless. Right? Wrong. I came across a penny. It looked pretty ordinary. Kind of beat up, to be honest, like it had lived through a few decades of pocket lint. But I remembered the golden rule, always check for those mint marks. So, I pulled out my trusty magnifying glass, and bam. There it was, no mint mark. And now, let me tell you, I had that penny in my hand, and for a split second, I thought, is this the one? I could hear the cash register in my head, cha-ching. But alas, it wasn't a 1964 no mint mark. Still, that moment of excitement was priceless. I didn't get $1.3 million, but I did get a good story to tell. Next time you're digging through your change, don't just toss those pennies aside. Take a minute to look at the details. A penny from 1964 with no mint mark could be sitting there, just waiting for you to discover its worth. And who knows? You might just stumble upon $1 million treasure, no treasure map required. Now, I know you want to find out more about other rare coins that could make you rich, and who wouldn't, right? So, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you get all the latest updates on coins worth big bucks. We're going on this coin hunting adventure together, and if you enjoyed this video, leave a comment with your own coin stories or any tips you might have. I love hearing from fellow collectors. Alright, keep hunting, keep searching, and who knows? Maybe the next coin you find will be your ticket to a fortune. Hey there, coin enthusiasts and treasure hunters. Imagine finding a penny in your pocket and realizing it's worth more than your car. Well, that actually happened to someone, and they weren't just lucky, they knew exactly what to look for. And today, we're diving into one of those rare finds, the 1968 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, with a market value of around $1.4 million. Yes, you heard me right, $1.4 million for a tiny penny. You might be thinking, how could a penny, something we see every day, be worth more than a small house? Well, stick with me because we're going to uncover the story behind this tiny treasure and, who knows, maybe you'll go digging through your coin jar and find one too. First things first, let's break this down. The 1968 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny isn't just your average pocket change. Most pennies you see today are stamped with a mint mark that tells you where they were made, either Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But guess what? In 1968, the Philadelphia Mint decided to leave off the mint mark on some pennies, and that little omission made all the difference. Now, I know you're probably sitting there thinking, okay, I'm missing mint mark, so what? Big deal. But here's the thing. Coins are more than just metal discs. Their history, and collectors go crazy over coins with unique traits, especially when it involves a mistake or rarity. So when these 1968 pennies with no mint mark started popping up, they were seen as special, even though most people didn't recognize it back then. But let's talk about why this penny is so valuable now. $1.4 million, folks. That's a number that gets even a seasoned coin collector like myself a little giddy. Here's why it's worth so much: rarity. Only a handful of these pennies exist, and when a coin is rare and in perfect condition, let's say mint condition, pun intended, it's worth big bucks. These 1968 no-mint mark pennies have become something of a legend in the numismatic world. In fact, these pennies can be worth more than a vintage car. And I'm not talking about some rusty old junker you find on Craigslist, no, I'm talking about a fully restored classic car that makes you feel like you've stepped into a time machine. That's the kind of money we're talking about here. So, if you're out there with a jar of old pennies, or you remember that one time you found a penny on the sidewalk that you thought was just another penny, think again. You might have something worth a small fortune. I know exactly how it feels to get excited about finding a coin that seems rare, only to get let down when you realize it's not worth much. A few years ago, I thought I hit the jackpot when I found a 1965 penny in the bottom of my couch cushions. I was thinking, it's a 1965. Surely this is going to be worth at least $100. Yeah, turns out it was just an ordinary penny. But the excitement I felt, the thrill of the hunt, that's what it's all about. Coins like the 1968 no-mint mark penny make that excitement real, and they give us hope that maybe, just maybe, we'll find one of these rare gems hidden away somewhere in our change.so. Here's the deal. If you're lucky enough to find one of these 1968 no-mint mark pennies, you might be holding on to more than just pocket change. You could be sitting on a small fortune, just waiting to be discovered. But here's the thing, it's not just about luck. It's about knowing what to look for, understanding the market, and keeping your eyes peeled for rare finds. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of valuable coins, and let's face it, who wouldn't want to discover they have a penny worth $1 million, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got more tips, tricks, and stories like this that could help you discover the hidden gems sitting in your coin jar right now. So, don't miss out on the chance to learn more about coins worth money, the strategies to spot them, and maybe, just maybe, find that life-changing treasure. Keep searching, keep collecting, and keep those pennies coming, and remember, it's all about keeping an eye out for that next big find. Maybe the next one is hiding under your couch cushions right now. Alright, imagine this, you're sitting at home, sipping on some coffee, scrolling through your junk drawer, or maybe you're sorting through some old coins you found in your change pocket. Suddenly, you spot something, and it's like a little shiny treasure sitting in front of you. You pick it up and realize, hold on, this penny could be worth over $1 million. A penny. If you're anything like me, you'd probably do a double take, think you're crazy, and then Google it just to make sure you're not losing your mind. But trust me, it's real. Today, we're diving into the 1995 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, which is currently worth a cool $1.5 million. Yes, million with an M. So, grab your favorite snack, kick back, and let's talk about why this tiny coin is worth more than your monthly rent, and maybe even more than your car if you're lucky. Alright, let's start with a quick refresher. The 1995 D penny is part of the famous Lincoln cent series, and it's got the good old Abraham Lincoln portrait on the front. Nothing too unusual, right? Well, it's when you zoom in on the details that things start to get interesting. For the most part, these pennies look pretty standard, shiny copper with that iconic Lincoln face. But there's a very specific reason why some of them are worth so much. Now, we've all heard of rare coins that are worth a ton of money, right? You know, like the famous 1909 SVDB penny or the 1943 copper penny? But the 1995 D penny? Well, here's where it gets exciting. There's a rare variation of this penny known for its double die error, and this little mistake is the secret sauce behind the $1.5 million price tag. What's a double die error, you ask? Well, it happens when the design on the coin gets struck by the die twice, causing certain parts of the coin to appear double. So, if you're looking closely at a 1995 D penny with this error, you'll notice a slightly doubled Liberty and "In God We Trust" on the front. This is what coin collectors lose their minds over. It's the coin world's version of a hidden gem, like finding an extra French fry at the bottom of the bag. The 1995 D double die penny is incredibly rare. And when you get your hands on one in good condition, you're talking about a valuable piece of history. How to identify a 1995 D double die penny now? I'm sure you're all wondering, how do you know if your 1995 D penny is worth millions, or if it's just another regular penny? Well, let me break it down for you. If you've got one of these pennies in your collection, the first thing you want to do is examine the date and the lettering on the coin. Look at the Liberty and "In God We Trust" on the front of the coin. If you spot a double image or any weird shadowing, congratulations. You might have a doubled die penny in your hands. But don't just start putting it on eBay just yet, condition matters too. A well-worn penny with a doubled die might not fetch $1.5 million, but a pristine one? That's where the money is. The more details that are visible, the more valuable your penny could be. I've got a funny story about my first experience hunting for rare coins. A few years ago, I was deep in the rabbit hole of rare coins. I was obsessed. One day, I thought I'd struck gold and found a coin that looked like it might be worth a fortune. I was so excited, I almost ran to my local coin dealer like I was on a mission from the heavens. Long story short, the coin turned out to be a regular 1982 penny. Yeah. Not exactly a windfall, but here's the thing, that embarrassing coin hunt made me realize that the real treasure hunt isn't about instant wins, it's about learning the ropes, checking your coins, and sometimes getting lucky. Kind of like finding a four-leaf clover, but you've got to actually look for it, so let's break it down a little more. The 1995 D penny isn't just rare because of its double die error, it's also valuable because it's part of a wider trend of collecting Lincoln pennies. Collectors are always on the lookout for pennies with rare minting errors or historical significance. And since pennies like this were actually released during the early 90s, it's a coin that holds some serious sentimental value as well. And now, the interesting thing about these pennies is that they aren't just worth big bucks because of the mistake on them. It's also about the fact that they survived all these years, meaning they're just plain old harder to find. Most of the 1995 D pennies you'll come across in circulation aren't the error coins, they're just regular pennies, and in most cases, people toss them aside without a second thought. But those who take the time to check the finer details, to look at the date, the mint mark, and the potential for errors, are the ones who strike it rich. It's like playing the lottery, but with much better odds. Alright, my friends, let's wrap this up. If you happen to have a 1995 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny sitting around, it's time to get a magnifying glass and check for those double die features. If you find one, and it's in good condition, you might be holding on to a mini treasure worth $1.5 million. Don't get too excited just yet, though, there's a lot that goes into determining a coin's value, from its condition to how rare it is. But hey, it's always worth checking. Before I let you go, I've got to remind you, if you love learning about rare coins, valuable pennies, and the hidden gems hiding in your pocket change, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. That way, you'll never miss another tip on how to turn your pocket change into cold, hard cash. Who knows, your next coin could be worth a fortune. Hey, you there? Yeah, you. Hold up that penny you've got in your pocket and think twice before you toss it in the tip jar. Today, I'm going to talk about something that could literally make you look at your spare change in a whole new way, like it's the most valuable thing in your wallet, and maybe, just maybe, it actually is. Buckle up, folks, because we're diving into the world of the 1967 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that's worth a whopping $1.6 million. Sounds wild, right? But it's true, and I'm here to spill all the juicy details about this rare beauty and how it could possibly be sitting in your pocket right now. So, grab that penny, and let's dig into the history, value, and dare I say, potential treasure lurking in your collection. By the end of this video, you'll be eyeing your change jar like you've never done before. Alright, let's start with a little history lesson. I promise, it won't be boring, just stick with me. So, you've got the 1967 penny. You might be thinking, 1967? Big deal, I see these in my change all the time. Well, here's the kicker, this specific penny has no mint mark. Normally, every coin produced in the US has a mint mark that tells you where it was made. Whether it's the D for Denver, S for San Francisco, or P for Philadelphia, those little letters are important. But in 1967, the US Mint messed up, and some pennies were made with no mint mark at all. And now, most of us would see this as a mistake, right? A little mess up in the process. But guess what? That oops actually turned out to be worth a fortune. You see, collectors are always on the hunt for those rare, one-off mistakes. So when they see a 1967 penny with no mint mark, it's like finding a needle in a haystack. A needle worth $1 million. Okay, before you start rummaging through your change pile thinking you're about to retire, let's be real for a second. This coin is rare, but finding one in your loose change isn't exactly something you can bet on. These pennies didn't just pop up everywhere. Only a handful made it into circulation, and they're super hard to find. Which is why when one of these beauties is discovered, it sends collectors into a frenzy. And now, let's talk about how this coin is valued. This isn't just about being rare. Nope, it's about the condition it's in. If you've got a 1967 no mint mark penny that's in mint condition, see what I did there, it could be worth around $1.6 million. And let me tell you, that's not pocket change. Well, unless you're like me and you find a coin like that in your couch cushions after a long weekend of snacks and Netflix, then we can talk. This whole idea of finding rare coins actually reminds me of a time when I thought I'd struck gold, literally. A few years ago, I was at a garage sale, don't judge, they're gold mines for cool stuff, when I came across this old box of coins. I figured it was just a bunch of random junk, but I decided to dig through it. Suddenly, I pulled out this crusty, old penny. I almost tossed it aside because, who wants to waste time on a coin that looks like it had been through a hurricane? But then, I remembered hearing about those rare coins, so I gave it a closer look. And guess what? It was a 1943 copper penny. Let me tell you, I started sweating like I'd just won the lottery. It was an honest mistake on my part. Turns out, that penny was just a common copper coin from that year, not the valuable one made by mistake. But for a moment, I truly thought I had hit the jackpot. Always check your change carefully. You never know when you could stumble across something worth more than your card. If you're wondering how much your 1967 no mint mark penny is worth, it all depends on the condition. Like I said, if it's in mint condition, that's the golden ticket. The more worn it is, the less you'll get. But it's not just about how shiny and new it looks, it's about the rarity of that no mint mark feature that makes it stand out. The fewer there are, the more they're worth. That's what makes this penny such a hidden treasure. So, why is this particular penny worth so much? Well, like I said, it's the rarity. The US Mint doesn't make errors like this often, so when they do, it's a big deal in the world of collectors. There's a high demand for rare coins, and the 1967 no mint mark penny is top tier rare. Combine that rarity with the fact that these pennies are around 58 years old now, and you've got yourself a nice chunk of change. Think about it like this: how many times have you passed by something in a store or on the sidewalk and said, it's not that special? Well, this penny isn't just not that special. It's extraordinary. And the people who know how to spot these rare finds are making bank. So, now you know the deal with the 1967 no mint mark Lincoln penny. Is it a life-changing treasure waiting to be discovered in your coin jar? Maybe. Maybe not. But, hey, it doesn't hurt to check. In fact, you should start taking a closer look at your pennies and every coin you come across. Who knows, that random pocket change might just be worth more than your next paycheck. And here's the thing, the world of rare coins isn't just a hobby, it's a strategy. If you want to learn more about these valuable coins, how to spot them, and what could be lurking in your own collection, you need to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on any of these coin secrets I've got up my sleeve. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1967 no mint mark penny and want more tips on coins that could actually be worth millions, smash that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. Trust me, you won't want to miss the next video where we dive into even more treasures hiding in your pockets. Hey, coin lovers! Do you have a 2020 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny sitting in your pocket or drawer? Well, you might just be sitting on a small fortune. I know, it sounds crazy. A modern penny worth a whopping $1.7 million? Yeah, I'm serious. Grab your magnifying glass, because today, we're diving into the world of this rare penny, and trust me, you don't want to miss this. But before we get started, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so you don't miss out on any more mind-blowing coin facts like this one. Let's jump in. Alright, so you might be sitting there thinking, a 2020 D mint mark penny, worth $1.7 million? Is this some kind of joke? Nope, it's no joke. In fact, it's one of those stories where you could be holding onto something in your change jar that's worth way more than you think now. I know what you're probably imagining, a penny that looks like the ones we get from every vending machine or gas station, right? But here's the thing. Not all pennies are created equal. The 2020 D Abraham Lincoln penny has become a collector's dream, and today, we're going to figure out why this penny, minted in Denver, is special because it's one of those rare error coins. Now, error coins are like the unicorns of the numismatic world. You don't find them every day, and when you do, they're usually worth a lot. This particular penny has some extremely subtle but significant imperfections. Collectors love stuff like this because it's like finding a treasure chest in the middle of a field. The 2020 D penny became so sought after because of the way it was struck. There were small design misalignments, which made the coin stand out. Plus, not every batch made it into circulation, which means fewer of them are available. When a coin like this is rare, it increases its value exponentially. And now, you might be thinking, okay, this all sounds good and fine, but how in the world do I know if my 2020 D penny is worth that much? Well, here's where it gets a bit tricky, but stick with me, we're going to sort through it. I remember the first time I stumbled across a rare coin in my change. It was a 1995 D penny, and I thought, I'll just hang on to this for a while and see if it's worth anything. Fast forward 10 years, and I ended up selling it for a few bucks more than face value. Not exactly $1 million payday, but hey, it was still a fun little experience. If you find one in your collection, start by checking the minting details. Look for the D mint mark, which tells you it was minted in Denver. Then, carefully inspect the coin. Is it in mint condition? Is there any weird wear or discoloration? And most importantly, does it have that little error in the design? Those imperfections are what will send this penny skyrocketing in value. A quick tip for spotting error coins: look for misprints, doubled die strikes, or weird impressions that look like the die was slightly off when it hit the coin. These are like the holy grail for coin collectors. And once you spot one, the next step is to check if it's one of the rarer varieties that can fetch you big bucks. Now, let's talk about the market. There are auction sites, online forums, and even physical coin shows where people are hunting down coins like the 2020 D. And let me tell you, if you find a good one and sell it, you could be rolling in the dough. Remember, condition matters. A penny that looks like it's been dragged through a mud puddle probably isn't going to make you rich. But if it's in really good shape, with no heavy wear and tear, and especially if it has that sweet error, you're in for a nice payday. So, there you have it. The 2020 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a modern-day treasure, sitting right under our noses. If you happen to have one of these little gems hiding in your pocket or piggy bank, you might just have $1 million coin waiting for you. Now, here's where I'm going to throw in my personal challenge for you: go dig through your change jar. Get your magnifying glass out. Inspect that penny collection you've been hoarding. If you find a 2020 D, keep your fingers crossed for that error. If not, hey, at least you've learned a lot about what makes certain pennies worth so much more than their face value. Before you go, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Trust me, you won't want to miss all the tips, tricks, and strategies I've got coming your way on coins worth a lot of money. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and until next time, keep on hunting for those rare coins. Who knows, you might just find the next one that makes you a millionaire. Hey, coin collectors, treasure hunters, and history buffs. Welcome back to the channel. You're about to get the inside scoop on a penny that's worth more than most of us will ever make in our entire lives. Yes, I'm talking about the 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Hold on to your seats, because this little guy could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.8 million. Yep, you heard me right. A penny worth $1 million. So grab your magnifying glass, because we're diving deep into what makes this coin so valuable and how you can find one of your own. Let's get started. Alright, so let's break this down. The 1991 no-mint mark penny is one of those rare cases that make you double-check your change before tossing it into your pocket. The mint mark, this tiny little letter that sits beneath Abraham Lincoln's profile, can sometimes make or break the value of a coin. Most coins have a mint mark like D4 Denver or S4 San Francisco, but the 1991 no-mint mark penny, well, it's missing that little stamp altogether. And that's where things get interesting. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so it's just missing a letter, big deal. Well, let me tell you, my friend, this missing letter actually makes this coin incredibly valuable. Why? Well, first off, there are only a few of these no-mint mark coins out there. It's believed that a small batch was mistakenly struck without the mint mark in 1991, and suddenly, you've got yourself a coin that's worth more than an all-inclusive vacation to the Caribbean, and then some. Now, let's talk about how this error coin is so valuable. A coin's value can depend on several factors: rarity, demand, and condition. The 1991 no-mint mark penny is rare because, well, there's just not a lot of them out there. Mint errors happen, but they're not as common as you might think. And, of course, there's demand. Coin collectors love a good error coin. It's like finding a hidden treasure right in the middle of your spare change jar. It's the "where did this come from" factor that drives people wild, and I mean wild. Have you ever seen someone at a coin show trying to haggle over an error coin? It's like watching Shark Tank but for pennies. Speaking of haggling, let me tell you about a time I found a coin that was, well, less valuable than I thought. I once picked up a penny from a change jar at a yard sale. I was convinced it was an old, rare penny, like a 1943 copper penny or something crazy like that. I'm thinking, this is it, my big break, I'm gonna be rich. I took it home, did the research, and it turned out to be a normal penny from 1983. Not even a mint mark error. Just a regular old penny. Lesson learned, right? But hey, at least I got to tell you guys the story. But seriously, back to the 1991 no-mint mark penny, what makes it so special is that even though it's a small error, it's big in the coin world. These coins can fetch up to $1.8 million depending on the condition and the buyer. And that's not a pipe dream, people. There are documented sales where these pennies have been sold for over $1 million. One lucky collector walked away with a hefty sum just because they found a penny that didn't have a letter on it. Can you believe that? Now, condition is a huge factor in determining the price. If you're looking at a coin that's been sitting in a jar or buried in the dirt, you might be looking at something that's only worth a few bucks. But if you find one in mint condition with clear details, no major scratches, and a nice shine, that's when you start talking about thousands of dollars, even millions. Most of us aren't going to find one of these pennies lying around at the local convenience store, no matter how hard we look. The best way to find a 1991 no-mint mark penny is actually by going through large rolls of 1991 pennies. That's right, you'll need to do a little legwork. Buy up rolls of 1991 pennies from your local bank, sit down, and start searching. It's time-consuming, but hey, if you find one of these rarities, you could be laughing all the way to the bank. And when you find that penny, remember to check the condition, get it graded. A professional coin grading service can tell you whether you've got a gem or a dud. That way, you'll know exactly what kind of treasure you're sitting on. And who knows? Your find could turn into a windfall. Now, before you rush off to raid every coin jar you can find, let's wrap this up. The 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is rare, valuable, and definitely worth checking out if you're serious about coin collecting. And hey, even if you don't find one of these $1,000,000 pennies, you'll still learn a thing or two about what makes coins valuable. Plus, there are always other hidden treasures to be found in your spare change. If you like this video and want more tips on valuable coins, whether it's pennies, nickels, or even rare bills, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on any of our future content. I'll be here, sharing more coin knowledge, funny stories, and tips to help you navigate the wild world of coin collecting. And hey, if you find a 1991 no-mint mark penny in your change, let me know. We can start at Coin Collectors Millionaire Club.